What's up, y'all? This is your boy D Jackson. Welcome back to the Drop That Podcast. Before we get into some fight talk, this episode is brought to you by Layback TV, okay? They keep the lights on and they pay the bills up in this bitch, alright? Over 10,000 channels, movies on demand, every sports channel, all the HBOs, multiple languages. Get it on your iPhones, on your Apple stores, get it on your Androids and your Play stores, or you can keep it at home on your Fire Sticks, okay? Go to laybacktv.com for all your questions and information that need to be answered. And if you need any specific questions that need to be answered, go to their Instagram on official_laybacktv, alright? Now let's get into fight talk because we got a lot of shit to talk about. Whoa! Yo, guys, holy shit. Shit went down. Fight talk. Do you know what everything is being announced? Let's get to it, all right? Because we got a lot to digest. We can't waste no fucking time, all right? So, let's get into UFC first, all right? So, they announced that the UFC White House event is no longer going to be taking place on July 4th, Independence Day of next year. It's been moved to June. I'm still curious how this is going to happen. Apparently, it's official. But I don't understand how it's happening. Okay, you're going to have it on the South Lawn. You're going to have the weigh-ins at the Lincoln Memorial. You don't know how much money. Fuck the setup. The ring. The octagon and everything that got to be set up. Fuck all that. The security. You know what I mean? You got to have military. You got to have law enforcement. You got to have National Guard. You got to have everything watching the back of these fighters, bro. I'm worried about the fighters. This is great. Don't get me wrong. I can't fucking wait for this event. As a fan, I can't fucking wait. I'm just worried, like, yo, this might not be safe. I mean, allegedly, someone tried to assassinate the president of the United States, Donald Trump, last year. Hello? And he was just at a fundraiser or a rally or some shit, right? It's just weird how they got this set up, but, you know, hopefully they know what they're doing, you know what I mean? Speaking of UFC, we got UFC Noche. UFC Noche. Now, UFC Noche was supposed to be taking place at Guadalajara, Mexico. But some little complications happened, and this is going down in San Antonio, Texas. Not bad. Not bad, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, that's kind of like the little cousin of Mexico. And it's going to be headlined by Diego Lopez and João Silva, 1/4 of the Fighting Nerds. Now, here's the shit, right? Silva is the last remaining fighting nerd that's undefeated. You know what I mean? Kyle Barao, I hope I'm saying his name right and not torturing it, UFC Paris lost the main event against Imavov. And, who's the other one? Rufi. Mauricio Rufi, lost his co-main event due to a rear naked choke. Damn. And we got Carlos Prates, who's going to take on Leon Edwards, in Madison Square Garden in November. Now, this is going to be interesting. You know what I mean? Diego Lopez, you know, he came up short with the UFC featherweight championship against Alexander Volkanovski. Maybe the pressure got to him or something like that. I don't know. Didn't look like he had the right game plan, but he was razor thin. It was razor thin. He was almost there. I say technically all the pressure is on Diego Lopez. You know what I mean? They were supposed to get Diego Lopez versus Yair Rodriguez, but who the fuck knows what happened? That would have been the fight to make. But, I don't know. If I had to go for our segment for who you got. Damn. I don't know. I think I'm going to go with the underdog. I'm going to go with Silva. You know what I mean? I'm a big fan of the Fighting Nerds. So I got Silva. Y'all check it out. UFC Noche going down this weekend. And it's not even a pay-per-view. Yeah. It's a fight night. It's a fight night for UFC Noche. Because last year's UFC Noche was on a pay-per-view. And it was at the Spear. And Diego Lopez was fighting Brian Ortega on that event. So, good thing he's coming back. Moving on. Another announcement. We're going to go into boxing because so much shit has gone down in the last week for boxing, and it's going down this week. So let's go first things first. The announcement of Floyd Money Mayweather, multi-time world champion, undefeated 50-0, is going to be taking on the youngest heavyweight champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson. Now, it hasn't been stated if it's going to be a professional or an exhibition. Professional, it will go on their records. And I guess you can get knocked out or whatever, right? Now, the last few weight classes that Mayweather fought in was 147, 154, and I think 160, right? And Mayweather knows better. He ain't doing any professional fights. He's doing exhibitions. He's going to keep his professional record at 50-0 with no problems. You know what I'm saying? So Mike Tyson just got off a professional loss to Jake Paul last year on Netflix. It was in the Dallas Cowboys Stadium in Arlington, Texas. AT&T Stadium, my bad. I don't know. Personally, I think this is exhibition. There ain't no fucking way that, it's bad enough that one's pushing 50, the other one's pushing 60, that a commission's going to allow this. But it makes no sense because weight class wise, Mayweather's not even going to make middleweight. No, get the fuck out of here, bro. But, we got to see I don't even want to compare this to Logan Paul versus Mayweather or Tyson versus Jake Paul, because Jake Paul is a better boxer than Logan Paul. Yeah, but Logan Paul is a bigger athlete than Jake Paul, right? This is going to be interesting to watch. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I think this is great for them. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at this as a fucking sparring session. But it's going to be a lot of Mayweather moving than Tyson, and Tyson chasing, basically. But I'm worried. I still want to hear the rules, because there's no way, weight class-wise, any commission is going to allow this. So I already know. This is going to be a motherfucking exhibition. It's going to be in 2026. Speaking of 2026, there are in talks of former unified welterweight champion Earl Spence Jr. to take on former undisputed super welterweight champion Jermell Charlo. Holy shit. That's a fucking fight. Two guys who were being trained by Derek James. One, Spence representing Dallas. Jermell Charlo representing Houston. This is great for Texas. I want to know where the fuck would it be held. If you're smart, you put it in Texas. You know what I'm saying? But if you're going to put it, don't put it in Dallas. Because, if we're being honest, these two lost their last fights. You know what I'm saying? Jermell Charlo last fought against Canelo. Earl Spence last fought against Terrence Crawford. So these guys are both coming off loss in the last 2.5 years. Their first fight in 2.5 years. So, with that being said, I love this fight. This looks like it's very personal. I would love to see, and apparently Earl Spence is coming up to 154, where Jermell Charlo was undisputed. You know what I'm saying? He's no longer undisputed. All his titles are scattered everywhere at 154. But this is going to be a fight. This is going to be a good fight. I don't even know what Charlo we're going to get, what Spence we're going to get. But if I'm the promoter, I don't even know. It might be PBC working on this. I would definitely hold this event in San Antonio. You know what I'm saying? I would do that because it's close to Houston and it's close to Dallas. You know what I'm saying? It's evened. You know what I mean? Everyone Spence in Dallas, representing Spence could come down to San Antonio. And the other, in Houston representing Charlo could come to San Antonio. Boom. Even playing field, same state, both Texans. I think this is great. Moving on. It looks like we're going to get a done deal with sorry I said that wrong. Isaac Pitbull Cruz and Lamont Roach for a 140-pound fight in December. Now, the reason why we're getting that fight is because Gervonta Tank Davis, diehard fan of his, fucked up. He fucked up and he took a fight with Jake Paul that's going to be in November. I guess an exhibition, because ain't no fucking way a commission's going to allow this to even, a heavyweight versus a lightweight. In fucking hell, probably. Gervonta Davis was supposed to get a rematch going on with Lamont Roach, because Lamont Roach and him went to a draw, which obviously everybody knows Lamont Roach won. Gervonta went to his corner, he dropped the knee, all of that shit. I don't know what the fuck the commission was smoking. It just showed there was more corruption going on in boxing, and they fucked shit up. I don't even think Gervonta Davis should be WBA champion right now. But everybody knows WBA championship is a shit box of an organization anyway. That belt don't matter, because you got the regular champion, you got the super champion. It makes no fucking sense. But when you look at Pitbull Cruz versus Lamont Roach, these are the two last fighters to give a problem with Gervonta Davis. And then, Lamont Roach is going up to 140. Now, some people think Pitbull Cruz is going to demolish Lamont Roach, because Pitbull Cruz has already won a title. He's a former champion at 140 already. I think it's 50-50, because there are, the fight against Gervonta, Lamont Roach looked great. He was landing and everything. Pitbull Cruz has been, ever since he beat Rolly at 140, he's been having a little trouble. He's been being outclassed at 140. So I think it's evenly matched. To me, it's whoever's going to have the best game plan. But as far as knockout power, I give the leverage over to Pitbull Cruz. If anybody's getting knocked out, it might be Lamont Roach. So we'll see. I can't wait for that fight. That's going to be a fucking fight. And they're talking about, speaking of 140, they're speaking of Shakur Stevenson, WBC lightweight champion at 135. Possibly moving up to 140, since there's no more possibility of Gervonta Davis, to challenge WBO 140-pound champion Teofimo Lopez. That's a fight. That's a fucking fight. And if they can lock that in January, we got big fights in the next 3-4 months. So I hope they lock this in. But they're in talks. Let's see. Because now that Lamont Roach is leaving 135, Shakur Stevenson is the last real champion at 135. There's no real fights at 135. And if Gervonta Davis ever want to reclaim his name again and get into talks, because nobody gives a fuck about what he's saying anymore, he would have to move up to 140, and he will be a very small 140-pound guy. But let's see how everything folds up. But before we get out of here, our segment for Who You Got, it's going down. Once in a lifetime, it's going down. We got the super middleweight champion in Canelo Alvarez this Saturday, defending his undisputed championship against former two-time undisputed champion and undefeated super welterweight champion Terrence Bud Crawford. Ever since this fight got officially announced 3 months ago, I've been going back and forth with people. You know what I'm saying? Canelo is comfortable at 168, because if you think about it, Crawford became undisputed not only at 135, 140 pounds. He went undisputed at 147 against Earl Spence 2 years ago. He won his the WBA Super Welterweight Championship last year. That's 154 pounds. And now he's skipping 160 pounds to go to 168 to challenge Canelo. And a lot of people don't give Bud Crawford the credit because of the simple fact that he, his two biggest names is retiring Sean Porter, and TKOing Earl Spence for the undisputed title. Those are his big ones. And not to mention his last fight a year ago at 154. I would have to say the Earl Spence, I'm sorry, the Terrence Crawford I saw 2 years ago who demolished Earl Spence was not the guy I saw a year ago at 154. You know what I mean? They said he would be more comfortable at 154. Moving up at weight than 147 because he was basically starving himself. You know, because he has a lot of muscle mass. And I'm trying to give Crawford the benefit of doubt of last year at BMO Stadium when he, with that fight, Valencia, I forgot his name. Because if we're being honest, there was a rematch clause with the Earl Spence fight. Whoever loses gets an automatic rematch. Crawford defeated him easily. Domination. So to me, it feels like Crawford was training for the Spence rematch that he thought was going to have a year later. And when negotiations fell apart, here comes the new guy. And there were not only were they supposed to rematch at 147, then there were rumors that they were in talks to go from 147 to rematch at 154 instead. Now, if they rematch at 154, they're not fighting for the 128 championship anymore. It's just a rematch. So much shit. So I feel like he was training for somebody else. But that's just my opinion. I have no real fucking, source that says yes. At least not that source. You know, so, him at 168, and it's really just him 168 pounds the day before the fight. He could be fighting at 170 pounds. 175. Now, Canelo, on the other hand, has great record. Yeah, he's lost to Floyd Mayweather. He's lost to Dimitri Bivol going up to light heavyweight. But that's it. Just 2 losses. And those are 11 years apart from each other. But everybody else, it was like, I don't know. Canelo's still that guy. Fuck what you said. Fuck what you heard. Canelo is still that Mexican bad motherfucker. Great footwork, great head movement, great ring IQ. You know what I'm saying? Never been knocked down. Never been knocked out. You know what I'm saying? And, regardless of him losing to Dimitri Bivol, Canelo's still the face of boxing. You know what I mean? It's like that loss didn't do shit. Him versus Crawford. Holy shit. I mean, Crawford got the skills. Don't get me fucking wrong. He's got the skills. He's southpaw, so it could develop some problems. But the thing is, I think in order to go at Canelo, you got to go after him. And a lot of these motherfuckers tried to stay away from Canelo. Why? Maybe they get scared. You know what I'm saying? So, I think it's not going to be about who has only the better skills. It's who's going to have the best game plan. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, Crawford has much tape on Canelo to prepare. But when it comes down to Crawford, Canelo is like, did you pay attention to tape? Because he claims that Crawford didn't have that many good names on his resume. You know what I'm saying? Crawford would disagree, but Canelo don't think so. So he's probably just looking at the Spence fight, the Valencia fight, as well as the Sean Porter fight. But you're looking at dominant fighters. Dominant in their prime, dominant wins over them. If I gotta pick one, I gotta pick one. Damn. And it's like, if he didn't have that fight last year at the BMO Stadium, damn, man. I don't know. I don't see a scared Crawford. And with skills-wise, and I'm listening to all these fucking, experts, also certain sources, certain coaches and training partners, and what their take on it, as far as Canelo versus Crawford. Canelo might be overconfident. Maybe. Who's the hungry fighter? I'm going to go with the hungriest fighter on this fight. Because this is a legacy fight. Fuck the super middleweight title. This is a legacy fight. I'm going Bud Crawford this Saturday. Y'all check it out. September 13th, live on Netflix at Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas, Nevada. We got Canelo Alvarez, undisputed super middleweight champion, defending the crown against the undefeated Terrence Crawford. And it's going down this Saturday. Make sure y'all fucking tune in. I'm your boy D Jax. This is Drop That Podcast. Make sure y'all subscribe, like the page. You already know what the fuck to do, alright? Tune in to those fights. We out of here. Peace.